Ariel Castro always would be fashionably late to every gig. When we mentioned travel to Ariel, it was usually a quick, I can't do it. You guys need to play local or I'm out of the band.
At Belinda's nightclub, they used to have a little kitchen behind the bar, and he would buy all the leftovers, 3 or 4 bags. I'm like, dude, you got the munchies? He said, no, I just got the food to take home, because, just to have it around.
What they didn't know is that he had 3 young women locked in his house at home, and he needed to get back to them and feed them. He was a complicated guy who presented one face to the world, and inside the house, he was just this diabolical, horrendous monster.
On occasion, the girls were permitted to leave their bedrooms, but generally it was to perform chores around the house.
There were so many just like tiny rules that we had to live by.
We got a little sliver of soap about like that thick just to wash our bodies with.
We had to use like a tiny drop of dish soap to wash like a full sink of dishes. We had to put the pan in the center on the stove. It couldn't be a little to the left, a little to the right.
What was the relationship between the 3 of you?
Well, in the beginning, we really didn't have like a relationship because he kept us divided. He wouldn't let us talk.
He built this climate where they didn't trust each other. They didn't like each other. He made them think that each one of them was in this alone.
In the beginning, I was his favorite, and then he would get me like different restaurant foods and clothes.
When you have very little, you can become jealous.
Yeah.
What were you jealous of?
It could be from getting more food, less food, different clothes. I mean, it was just simple things, but when you don't have anything, you're like, well, why don't I have that? I want that.
He was very shrewd. He divided them by making them suspect each other. He would tell them lies about what one of them said about the other.
Sometimes he would just walk out, make a noise like he was going downstairs, then creep up and check on them, to make sure they weren't talking. And of course, he would catch them and give them some punishment. No heat, no light, no radio, no TV, no food.
One day, he was on his motorcycle, and this was years after Gina had gone missing, and he was driving along, and he saw Nancy, Gina's mom, passing out flyers. He had gone to school with Nancy. He knew her.
He asked me, well, could I have one of those flyers? And I said, sure. And I gave him the flyer, and then he drove off.
I just thought, like, how could you talk to my mom? Knowing inside you're laughing at them, but I never understood that.
Ariel Castro was a monster. He was a self-absorbed narcissist. He went to the vigils and stood with their families.
We pray, Lord God, that you would bless all those, the volunteers.
How much of a monster are you when you could go to that girl's parents and say, I've been looking day and night, I can't find her? That's a hell of a game to play with somebody.
Ariel Castro got drunk a lot, and the alcohol fueled his cruelty.
He played these terrible, terrible mind games.
He was like, you want to play Russian roulette? I was like, why not? I'm not going home. I got nothing to lose.
He took a gun out. He'd always warned, but they hadn't seen it. And he opened it, and he showed there was 1 bullet in it.
Who went first?
He went first. So then he pulls the trigger and nothing happens. He gives me the gun, and I'm about to pull the trigger, and he's like, let me pray for a minute.
He knelt down and he said, if you love me, you really won't pull this trigger. If you hate me, you will. And she's thinking, what is he thinking? Of course I can't stand this guy. And she didn't even wait another second, and she fired.
I pulled the trigger and nothing happened.
Not only did he have the physical restraints, the chains, the doors, the padlocks, but he also had psychological restraints that he used with them, including several attempts where he may have left the door open and was around the corner and tested their resolve.
He was always there watching every move. It was like he knew everything, every move that we did.
You don't think all those days we sat there, we didn't think about how can we get out of this door? Can we get out of that window? Can we get out of the kitchen door while we're using a bathroom and he's maybe in the living room or something? But he had mirrors everywhere.
I thought about putting rat poison in his beans, and then I thought about like spraying pine saw in his eyes, but he was always a step ahead of what I was doing.
A few times, some member of the family came in. You know, the house is tiny, and they could hear Castro talking to his daughter.
He would take the girls and he would put them together in the basement, and he would chain them up and he would say, "Not a word, don't make a sound."
The three of you were in the basement, and his daughter was right there.
Yeah, we can hear him laughing and talking.
Did you think about, if we yell, she's right there, we're right there, possibly she could hear you?
There was always a chance. What if he killed everybody?
I think by then they were so beaten down about what could happen, and they froze.
On another occasion, one of his daughters came to stay in the house with him, and he had to think fast, what am I going to do with these three women?
And he brings them outside and puts them in this van.
He put them in wigs and sunglasses and hats to disguise them.
He chained us up to the middle of this van. It was so hot, sticky, everything smelled like gasoline and oil.
This is when we kind of started talking for the first time, me, Gina, and Michelle. So he took the van out just a little bit up the driveway.
The key was in the van, and he was outside the van, so she was like, I could run him over.
What if we just put it in drive and press the gas?
I'm sure that you were thinking, maybe this is our chance. What happened?
That close to freedom, but we were still too scared. He was very scary.
Amanda regretted not trying it, and then it was several more years before another chance came along.
It was a dark and hopeless existence in that house until one day everything changed when Amanda announced she was going to have a baby.
And he was going to allow her to keep that baby.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.